We reached out to a mosque near where I live and reached out to the imam named Tariq and said, "Hey, I'm a Christian apologist. Could I come get a tour of your mosque?"
And here's some
I'm an amazing. I'm gonna fall asleep if I eat
here's some fish.
comfort food. Holy cow!
Amazing meal. We are heading out now to get a chance to watch them for their afternoon prayers.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sahabat semuanya. Sebagai seorang pembela Kristen yang cukup fanatik, Dr. Sean McDowell, seorang profesor di Sekolah Agama Talbot dan Universitas Biola di California, pada sore hari itu mencoba melakukan sebuah eksperimen atau percobaan dengan mendatangi sebuah masjid dekat dengan tempat tinggalnya di Orange County Selatan, Amerika Serikat. Dengan percaya dirinya, Sean menghubungi seorang imam masjid tersebut dan mengatakan bahwa dia adalah seorang pembela Kristen. Bolehkah seorang pembela Kristen melakukan tur di masjid ini? Tanyanya.
Hey, think about joining me on a little journey. We reached out to a mosque near where I live and reached out to the imam named Tariq and said, "Hey, I'm a Christian apologist. Could I come get a tour of your mosque and then just ask you some questions about your faith?" They were totally open to this. In fact, invited my son and I, who's 11, who you'll see going with me on this journey, to a meal ahead of time, which I think promises to be really good.
So that is your title, Imam.
Yeah,
Okay.
our religious director.
Okay.
So I direct all things religious. Each position of prayer, you do specific actions, and all of them are symbolizing an aspect of our relationship with God. So when we stand, we are reciting verses from the Quran. It's all in Arabic.
My son found that prayer time so fascinating for a range of reasons. Now we're headed to get a little tour of the mosque.
This is the Quran, all in Arabic. This is the compilation of statements and practices of the Prophet. So you have the Arabic and the English translation here. A lot of the English translations are really bad.
Really?
So if you come across something very strange, it's because the
Might
one
not be
translating didn't do the.
Okay.
All right, this is our newest edition. This is the lounge.
Wow, this is like a coffee shop for hanging out.
Some rooms you might expect in a mosque, but what fascinated me is they're building a coffee shop, which is very similar to what many churches do to get people to just hang out and spend time there.
You know what was surprising is that I bring people of other faiths also here, and I've heard comments from them that this is the most peaceful place I've ever been. Generally, we bring them on Fridays. We invite you and your family to come here one Friday
I really appreciate that.
and bring out your children, your wife, friends, neighbors, and say we're going to go and observe today.
Well, thank you for that invitation.
Sure.
Sean tidak pernah menyangka jika kedatangannya itu ternyata mendapatkan sambutan yang begitu hangat dari imam dan pengurus masjid lainnya. Mulai dari dihidangkan makanan pada awal kedatangannya, lalu diajak untuk berkeliling melihat fasilitas masjid yang membuatnya takjub, sampai kemudian berakhir dengan sesi tanya-jawab seputar Islam.
Appreciate you guys being great hosts and allowing me, as an apologist, I'm sure in the back of your mind are like, who is this guy? What's his angle? You guys have been incredible, and thanks for letting me just ask you some questions. Now, you described some people leaving the Islamic faith.
Yeah.
How much is that happening today? Because we hear about crises in like the Mormon Church, you hear about it in the Christian faith, you hear about in other faiths. How common do you see that? And how much does that concern you as an imam over a mosque when you look at the next generation?
I always try and find people who are out there in the business world, people who are less regulars at the mosque, and ask them the question, what's going on in the world? I want to know how people see the religion from the world you come from.
How many Christians reach out to you? Let's go to a meal. I want to visit the mosque. Want to get to know you.
Yeah.
How common is that, whether they're in some kind of formal ministry like a pastor, a professor like myself, or is this kind of an exception for a Christian to reach out in this way?
No, we've been working on our interfaith relationships for the past 2 decades, and we built some long-lasting relationships with pastors and with rabbis as well. We're very proud of those relationships, and we acknowledge our differences.
Yeah, of course.
We've developed this comfort that I have my way, you have your way, but that doesn't mean we can't work it with each other in different ways.
What do you think are some of the core areas that Christians and Muslims agree, and where do they disagree?
The commonalities is that we believe there's God. Right? Although we may differ in terms of certain specificities of God and the nature of God, we don't believe that God manifests himself in any physical form. We love Jesus, we revere him, he is a prophet of ours that we are commanded to love and to take as a role model. You cannot be a Muslim without loving Jesus. But Jesus to us is a human being and a messenger of God. He is not beyond that. We don't believe that Jesus died on the cross. Rather, God elevated him, lifted him to the heavens before the Romans captured. Right? Somebody was crucified. This wasn't. It wasn't Jesus.
So you didn't have a crisis of faith?
No.
Do you ever have doubts since that point? Like, how confident are you in your mind? Is it like 100%, 95%? How often do you have doubts, and if so, what kind are they?
I know this sounds overconfident or maybe even a little bit arrogant, but I have never truly doubted any reasonable amount of doubt the faith. I'm very comfortable with it, and I truly believe that this is the truth. This is what pleases God, the Creator.
So no doubts, no questions has always made sense to you?
I'm always learning. I still see myself as very ignorant to a lot of the important realities, and you grow in your journey. But in terms of, is this what God wants from me? I've always been comfortable with it.